And it's Kurt. So I'm a compatibilist for existentialism and essentialism, and I'll explain what all those words mean here in Kurtlish. So maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't get it. And I don't think anyone has ever said that you can be compatibilist for those things. I think the people that are probably compatibilist for those things don't really feel like talking about those things because they don't understand the point of having that conversation. Or no one's thought of this yet. But I'm a compatibilist for the two, and I'd like to explain why I'm a compatibilist, what they are, and why this matters. Um, it doesn't really matter. It's a good life philosophy if you want to know it, the one that I'm going to share, what you can get from this. But it's, I mean, everything's absurd. We're pushing our rock. We're pushing our rock. The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. Camus. I hate Camus. He's an existentialist. But I like Sartre. He was the one that made existentialism. Anyway, essentialism. I also haven't finished Sartre's book because it's huge. Essentialism is the idea that you're born with an essence and a predetermined destiny. Existentialism is the idea that your choices determine your destiny and that you're born with like a clean slate, a tabula rasa. Um, so those are the two different thoughts. Essentialism was where we were always at, like especially when well, I still don't understand because I think the church is against free will, but I mean, it's for free will. But this thing that I was reading said the church was against free will and that everything was predetermined, like T.S. Eliot said. I hate T.S. Eliot too. It's fine. um, I think both schools of thought are a little bit wrong, and if you tweak them a little bit, you can get a compatibilist view that works, where like you take half of each. Um, but basically, I'll just go into it without dropping more dead white men's names. My idea is that we're experiencing the passage of time, right? So we're determining the things as they happen in the present. They aren't determined until they've happened in the present. Okay, so it's technically our choices that are determining our next choices. So the existentialists are right. We do have a choice because it's not determined until we do it. We're the ones determining it. Now, where this gets tricky, because I'm for the thought that things aren't predetermined, they're determined as they happen, because you can only be in one state at once, classically. Um, my idea is that the door that you could go through is basically wide as you're approaching, and then once you get there, it's just one choice, and you have to take it. You know, um, because you can have a plan, and then once you get there, your door closes and you have to go through. Time's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Where this gets weird is if we're determining things and time and light going at the speed of light doesn't experience time passing. It's basically all happening at once at the speed of light. Then when are things determined for light? And if things are determined for light always, if non-determinism approaches determinism as you go the speed of light, I am not a free will compatibilist and a determinism compatibilist, because I think that if you say that determinism and this illusion of free will exist, determinism will always wipe out free will from a logical standpoint. If it's all determined, then it's all determined, even if we experience non-determinism and it's our choices. Where this is in line with my pantheist spirituality is that in pantheism the idea is that we are all God. So if God is determining it, it still is in line with this compatibilist viewpoint because us as God, God is determining it. And my standpoint, we're enacting God's will, but God is us, so we're enacting our own will. You know, so that's how the compatibilism between free will and determinism work. If it's all one thing, we're the ones doing it. But anyway, I don't really, like I said, compatibilism between free will and determinism, I don't think that's worth discussing, but compatibilism between essentialism and existentialism is worth discussing because existentialism is saying your choices matter and existentialism is saying that your choices don't matter. It's determined from birth, but your choices are necessarily determining the time as it's passing, so your choices do matter. It may have been determined from birth because, as Spinoza says, if you can't control your birth, like where you were born and what socioeconomic status, what you look like, all these different things, then you can't control the rest of your life. You're basically just like, I was born around a certain group of people, and then because of that, my life kind of played out, you know? It's like every single choice builds on top of it the first choice, the primal cause, the Big Bang. Or if you want to, when Brahma went to sleep. I like the idea that there's multiple origin stories for Brahman because there's multiple origin stories for like the universe. Like it could be the Big Bang or I'm a fan of like the Big Bang to the Big Crunch. I like the idea of crunching in. I don't know though. I'm not a physicist. I like lots of I like the fableized versions, like origin stories, and I also like the physics ones. I think that it's kind of saying the same shit, only with different language. So it's like under a different knowledge framework. But yeah, I think that existentialism and essentialism could definitely be compatible. And that's where I think we should go. I think existentialism was really good because it got us to like leave monarchy and then we just made corporations, but I still think that corporations ideally should be of the people, right? So I'm not really a communist because communism is the idea that the government gets in control of the money, and I'm like an anarchist, and I'm not really an anarchist in that I don't want organization. I just think the quickest way to fix our present organization is to burn it down and build back up again. I think that I'm of the opinion that we should have new founding fathers like every 10 years, and it builds on top of the past founding fathers, but it completely overwrites it. I'm of the idea that we should waive a lot more because if you have a static system, it's just going to keep on getting abused by the people that can abuse it over time. That's my opinion. I don't think it'll ever be enacted because people are so fucking afraid of change that they just don't let it happen. And now we just aren't passing laws anymore. Now it's just like this, it's just this media frenzy and people talking shit but never doing anything. It's fine. Politicians, you're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep on sending this. I'll keep everything that you send me. It's great card stock for filters. So thank you. I really hate when Kamala Harris says that we have power because we can vote. Like, yes, I'll vote, whatever, but it's not my only power. I have a voice, and I can do things. Don't let them ever. That's why I don't like predetermination because of things like T.S. Eliot and like all these people who use predetermination. Even like saying black people are the children of Ham and you were predetermined to be enslaved. All of these things, like people using predetermination in order to oppress other parts of the self, um, that's not chill, homie. We're using predetermination in order to embolden people to say that yes, your thoughts are a bit extreme, but the only people that are going to be able to enact them is yourself. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. It's up to you guys. You have to say something. You have to fight for yourself because no one else is going to fight for you. Only you can. So, anyway, that's the idea, is that everything's determined, but you're the ones that are determining it. It's your choices that are important, and you have power just in your actions, because they're expecting certain actions, but you have power in your actions, guys. Don't ever forget it. Your actions are very important because they determine the next actions that we're able to take. And if some crazy shit doesn't get on some social platform and say, listen, you're going to have to stop giving babies gender markers because it's cis supremacist, then no one's going to be able to say that in the future because no one's done it first. So I'm here to say the things first. 1, NTMs equal DTMs. 2, stop giving babies gender markers. It's cis supremacist. 3, I'm gonna turn on the world. And that's about it. That's my goal. Ginsburg didn't have no God machine. Jesus didn't have no acid. I have a goal, and I may or may not accomplish it. But just in case I don't accomplish it with this round of humans, I'm just gonna post my shit on the internet because I think the internet will last more than these humans, like last for a longer period of time. So it's kind of like a time capsule for my thoughts. And I said it first. I was the initiating event, and then some person in the future can just find this and be like, oh, I understand everything now. Just kidding. We can't understand everything. We aren't God. I think that accepting your ignorance is the best thing that you can do because then you are open to everything. You have an open mind. So be accepting of your ignorance so that you can find it and learn. 1, don't be afraid to act. 2, you're the only one that is going to be able to do it. Like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So go ahead and do it. And 4, I think I'm on 4. You're God, motherfucker. You're Brahmin. You're very special and important, and you always will be. Brahmin, the energy that's neither created nor destroyed. The one, the self, mu, the Tao. There's lots of names for it. You can choose all of them if you want. I don't like Heidegger. He was a Nazi. But I like Days In. The idea of it. Anyway, I've never read him though. Like, I've never read On Being in Time. But I think he'd say, because some people are like, you can separate him from his Nazism. It's not the end of the world. But I think that Heidegger, what he's arguing is that you actually can't separate it from his Nazism. So, I mean, I give it to him. Cishet white men have good ideas lots of times. But they also only do it from one perspective, which is theirs. They don't have an open mind to all the other perspectives of the universe, so their beliefs are limiting. But I understand their beliefs, because if I didn't, then my belief would be limiting. So, do with it what you will. This is my philosophy talk of the day. Love you guys. Bye.